Welcome to the Fantasy Fundamental Podcast. Tune in on Sundays to hear about the upcoming game or Monday morning for a weekend recap. You can follow us on Twitter or Facebook to get the most important NFL news, where we follow over 175 top analysts, beat writers, and other experts, so you don't have to. If you would like your questions answered a little quicker, join us on Discord. We update weekly rankings to help guide you in your fantasy leagues or gambling on football. Remember, to access Discord, you must be a Patreon supporter. That also gives you a chance to win giveaways or appear on the show. The affiliate link is in the description below. That will give you a 120% deposit bonus on betus.com. Now let's meet your hosts, Jared, Alex, and Joe.
Good morning.
Morning.
So for those who are just listening, you might be unaware, but we lost another player to injury this morning.
Gone.
Joe is not with us today. It is just the two of us. He's got the
advertising fasciitis caused by an invasive streptococcus. What? Flesh-eating disorder.
We're going to jump right into it with the Sunday slate.
First up, Chicago Bears versus the Atlanta Falcons.
It's all right game.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a lot more than 47. BetUS has the line at over/under at 47.
47. I see this game going over.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of offense in this game. Oh, what's the injury report?
Well, for the Atlanta Falcons, Julio Jones is a game-time decision with a hamstring injury. You might want to have somebody else that you can start. I wouldn't really start him even if he did play.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to affect that team too much. I don't think he's a big part of that offense. I kind of hinted on that on our pre-rankings, preseason. I had him a little lower. He's a good player, but I think Gage has stepped up well. I think
Ridley's played phenomenal.
Ridley, yeah. If Julio doesn't play, maybe Calvin has a little bit harder time getting points going against higher coverage. Either way, I like Gage here to have another good week.
Yeah.
As for the Bears,
Allen Robinson should be a solid receiver one, I would imagine, against that beat up Atlanta Falcons defense.
You're hoping, because if he doesn't do it in this game, I think I'm cutting the fat with him.
I'm pretty confident he will do it in this game.
Because he has not had a good game so far this season.
He hasn't?
No, he has not been a wide receiver one yet. So he's been a little bit of a disappointment. The targets are there. They're just not translating well into catches. But I think they got a chance to do it. Miller looks okay. I think they're going to be able to run the ball quite well against the Falcons.
They should be able to move the ball in general.
Yeah. I have this game 24-21 Falcons.
24-21. Got the Falcons. I think they'll get 30-21 Falcons.
Okay. Moving on.
All right, next up we have the Los Angeles Rams versus the Buffalo Bills.
Now, if the Bills can win this game, I'll take everything I said back from the Bills.
This is a big game for them.
Yeah, well, this is a game.
I don't see them winning this one.
The Jets is not a game.
No.
Right? Let's see them play a real team with real aspirations. However, I did think Josh Allen would struggle more throwing the ball. He's kind of like that Lamar Jackson RG3 thing where he runs.
He's shown a little bit more passing.
Yeah, well, he runs and it makes people play in the box. So he's throwing against really soft coverage. However, last week he did look good. He did throw the ball well. So if he can do it again against the Rams, then okay, you got me. You got a Jets fan saying the Bills are a solid playoff team.
I would agree. That would make them a solid team if they could beat the Rams. That's a complete team. More so.
I don't think it's going to happen.
No, I don't see it happening.
Not that the Rams are the powerhouse they were that we know of when Gurley was there, but they're a solid team. They can do just about everything. Maybe not A+, but across the board, they're a solid team.
Absolutely.
And Aaron Donald's on your defense.
Yeah, you put him on the line, he's that helps you a lot.
Yeah, and who
And then
knows?
you got Jalen Ramsey on the outside, so you got 2 star defenders right there on defense.
Yeah, and who knows? If you're playing Josh Allen, you got to expect it. He's just going to just give you the ball.
Yeah.
Just hand it to you.
That's a very good possibility, yeah.
So we'll see. What's the injury report look like?
Well, for the Rams, Akers, obviously we should know by now that he is out. Darius Williams was limited in practice. The Rams corner with an ankle, he's questionable. You go down to the Bills, you have Dawson Knox, tight end, is out with a concussion. You also have Zach Moss out with a toe.
I don't think they're running in this game anyway.
No, they're going to need to throw the ball.
Yeah, I think that.
I would look at Diggs, Brown. They would be the main options. They seem to work very well in how this offense is running in Josh Allen right now.
Yeah, I think Moss hurts them because I don't think Singletary's going to get going on the ground, and they needed that pass catcher. Having a tight end out, they got their work cut out for them. I see this game 27-24 Rams.
All right. I think it'll be a little lower. 24-17 Rams.
Okay.
All right. Next up, we have the Washington football team versus the Cleveland Browns.
The Brownies.
Washington's been playing.
Yeah,
They've
but
been looking good.
their defense can get to the passer. Their secondary is not the best. The Browns, they got a good thing running. They
might not show up though. They could, but they might not.
Yeah, it is in Cleveland. Not that Washington's real far away, because we're talking about the city, not the state.
Right.
I still have once in a while some comments referring to the state of Washington, but I digress. I think the Browns can hold their own, but I can't see them winning this game. I think it's going to just turn into a wannabe shootout, but I don't see a whole lot of success. And I actually predict both the running backs here to get a little bit going. Browns are really going to try early in the game. If they find success, they could win a game here. If they can't get Chubb going against that defensive line, because Washington's defensive line is solid.
It is.
I can just see them going over the top with McLaurin. That guy is a freak. So
they do have a couple corners out for the Browns, so it makes it a little easier for Washington here.
Yeah.
With McLaurin, and then you have Logan Thomas, who's getting a lot of volume right now. Them two should be able to have success against this defense right now.
Yeah, I agree. I kind of see this game a little bit low scoring. But that's because I feel like it's going to take them. I think the Browns are going to try to run the ball. The clock's going to run fast. I think it's going to take a little bit for Washington to find the niche. But then I think once it opens up, I think it's going to just turn into a shootout. I would guess that halftime you're talking 10-3 type score. But by the end of the game, the Browns are favored by 7. And I think that's a lot. I actually think Washington's gonna pull one out here. I'm gonna say 27-20, Washington.
Okay. I'm gonna go with 30-24 Browns. I think the Browns get it.
Okay. Lots of points scoring on your side, huh?
I like the points.
You like the points.
I like the points.
It's a good week.
I think there's going to be a few points scored here.
I think there's going to be some monster games, but we just haven't got to them yet.
Yes.
Moving on.
The Las Vegas Raiders versus the New England Patriots.
Now, this game, I'm excited to watch.
Oh, yeah.
I want to see how this plays out because you have two teams where everyone knows that they have the ability to be good. But the Patriots making a brand new offense, and this early in the schedule, to see them playing as efficient as they have,
It's working.
is surprising. And then the Raiders, Gruden's offense is very complicated. And I think last year a lot of the players struggled with the little innuendos, and they're playing well. So I want to see who wins this game this early in the season. That's going to tell me a lot about who they are moving forward.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a big game between Gruden and Bill Belichick in just the play calling alone.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. As for, you go down to the Raiders, you look, they have Ruggs out. Darren Waller's been limited in practice the whole week with a knee, although he should play. As they have their tackle, Trent Brown, out. That's going to hurt. They also have their linebacker, Nick Kwiatkowski, pectoral, out. So, yeah, Josh Jacobs, he's limited with a hip all week. So, they're banged up right now.
Yeah, I actually think it's going to be a little bit of a low-scoring game. Patriots are going to want to, run a little bit, short passes. It's going to eat the clock. I think the Raiders are going to have some success running the ball. It's going to eat the clock. I don't see a lot of punts in this game, though. So, BetUS has it at 47.5. I think that's kind of high. I'm actually going to go. I'm going to go 23-27 Raiders.
23, yeah. I think it'll be a little lower. I think it'll be 21-17.
21-17. Yeah, I like the underdogs this week. That's the second time I picked. The Raiders are getting 6 points right now in BetUS. That's a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot. I mean, it could come down to the final play. Someone gets a touchdown and goes over. So, it could be that.
Yeah, Patriots' defense is still good. It's not as good as it was last year, but it's better than the Raiders.
Yeah, Gilmore does not look as good as he did last year, especially you see that game last Sunday against DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf won that matchup.
Well, I don't think there's too many people that can go man-to-man with DK Metcalf.
No.
So I think
but
that was overly confident Bill Belichick.
Maybe so, but he should have been able to hold his own a little bit better than what he did. But going forward with this game, I mean, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. I would see him going on Waller. I don't see Waller having a huge game this week.
You think the corner's going to man up on the tight end?
I think they might.
Okay. I didn't outline it that way, but I think with the Ruggs out, it really gives them good flexibility.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, moving on.
All right, so next up we have the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles are banged up right now.
Yeah, they're banged up, but they're not terrible. Just Wentz is.
Well, you look at their offensive line. Their offensive line is not what it was. They are letting up a lot.
Yeah, but all I hear is how Wentz can escape from anything. He's Houdini.
He can escape, but it's hard to escape every single play.
Yeah, well, he escapes. And then, he just got to learn how to throw the ball, and he might be competent. I don't care for Wentz. Never have. They shouldn't have moved on from Foles, in my opinion. Although the Bengals defense is not elite by any means, I think Wentz will find success. I think the Eagles...
The Bengals defensive line is hurting too. They have Geno Atkins out. Mike Daniels, didn't practice. He's questionable. I'm not sure if he plays.
Yeah, I see a lot of inside runs. It's a good spot for Sanders, for sure.
Yeah, I think he has a pretty good game.
I think with the two middle linemen out, and both the safeties kind of beat up, you're going to have to bring in those linebackers because they're going to want to run up the middle, and it could open some stuff to the outside, and
get them tight ends involved, 12 tight ends.
Exactly. So I like Goddard, I like Ertz, I like Sanders. You could take a shot on a wide receiver.
You can do Deshaun Jackson. He's about the only one that I would play, though.
Yeah.
For the Eagles.
I agree. And as for the Bengals...
AJ Green could have a good game, or he could do very little. But the potential is there.
I think they're comfortable with him throwing the ball a lot. And, I mean, the safest option is definitely Tyler Boyd.
Yeah.
But I can see AJ getting a little more involved, especially since Joe Burrow said he was going to throw to him all day, and then he didn't really do that. So I think the media kind of was confused, and he may give him some love, a little more than normally, but Mixon should be all right.
Yeah, he's the guy back there, Bane.
Yeah, I think ideally you'd want the game to either be competitive or the Bengals to go down pretty early. Because if they go down early, they're going to be aggressive. They're going to throw to the backs. They're going to throw the passes. And it's going to keep the Eagles honest. And the whole game's going to be fantasy fun. But if it's in any other real scenario, they could get safe. They could...
Maybe. Yeah.
So we'll see how this plays out. I'm not super excited to watch it. I just want to see Burrow and his progressions.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. 48's the over-under. I think that's kind of high, but that's about right.
I think there will be points scored in this game.
Yeah.
I think the offenses on both sides are better than what the defenses have right now, especially with the injuries.
Okay. I think it's going to be 21-26 Eagles.
Okay. I'll go 28-24 Bengals.
Oh, okay. Like the Bengals.
I like the Bengals this week.
Moving on.
Okay. Next up, we have the San Francisco 49ers versus the New York Giants.
It's in New York. West Coast, East Coast game, 1 o'clock.
Did they travel back?
They traveled east. It's not very hard.
Well,
it's not easy.
Since they played last week at the Jets, did they travel back? Or did they stay?
That's a good question.
If they stayed, I'm not concerned about it.
Yeah, that's a good question. A lot of teams usually stay, especially if they're going to play 2 games.
But regardless, the Niners are pretty banged up in this one. You have Raheem Mostert. He's going to be out for a while. Tevin Coleman, he's out. He's on IR, so he's going to be out for a while. You have Jimmy Garoppolo. He's out. So you got Nick Mullins starting. George Kittle's out there starting tight end. So who do they really have here? They have Jerick McKinnon at running back and Jeff Wilson to back him up. I think he'll be mainly the goal line. He might break one, but I'm not betting on that. And then throwing the ball, I mean, you have Mohamed Sanu. I guess he'll grow a little bit, but there's nobody that I'm really targeting.
Yeah, the Niners are real beat up, but I think that the Giants are a better team than they've showed. We'll see. The Jets are really incompetent. We can't really see how good the Niners are. But they did. They stayed in Green Bay in New York. So they never came back. I think that helps with the travel time. I think the Niners are going to find success with McKinnon and is it Jeff
Wilson?
Jeff Wilson. I think they'll be all right. The Giants only really have a couple pieces on defense.
Yeah, I mean, other than Barkley, they pretty much have their offense.
Yeah, but I think the Giants are going to throw a lot, and I think the Niners are going to try to slow it down, and I think they're going to have success running and playing good defense. So we'll see. I think this game is going to be a defensive game. There'll be some big plays here or there. Let's see. It is 42 is the over-under. It's the lowest of the week. I think that's about right. I think the Niners win it 21-17.
Over 24-17 Niners. Okay. All right. Well, next up we have the Tennessee Titans versus the Minnesota Vikings. Titans looked good last week against the Jags. Even without A.J. Brown, they still were able to throw and score more so than when he was there.
Yeah, I kind of like how the Titans have become what they are. Because I think everybody was like, oh, they're a running team. They're not that much of a running team.
Not as much now, especially with Tannehill, which it looks like he's definitely starting to blossom into an actual starting quarterback.
Yeah, I always liked Tannehill, and then he kind of took a dip, and then he played real bad, and then I was like, yeah,
why?
Maybe he's not very good. And then I started hearing these rumblings about a head coach, and I looked into it, and I was like, oh, yep, Adam Gase is terrible.
Yeah.
So he leaves that situation, goes to a good situation, and now he looks good again. I think the Titans will be able to throw the ball. I think they'll be able to run the ball. I think the Vikings are okay. I think they're a C+ defense. They're a C+ offense.
I think their offense is more than C+. Even with Dalvin Cook as the main guy, yeah, you have Thielen. I'm not confident in Cousins, but this is an offense that can absolutely put up points.
Titans don't have a good front, but their secondary has always been above average. I think the Vikings are going to be all right running the ball, maybe on some screens, some outs, some slants, but outside of that, the Vikings aren't going to be able to push the ball down the field unless they break one. They could break one, but Cousins will not be able to beat the Titans defense for no 350 yards and 3 touchdowns. It's not going to happen.
I
So
see that happening.
So I think the Vikings could win this game. I think it's going to be a good game to watch. I just don't have a lot of faith in the quarterback of the Vikings anymore. I think the problem is they needed Diggs, but Cousins is unable to throw on target to a fast receiver in stride. He was always behind him.
Able to utilize him to his full potential, but it did help him utilize Thielen because it opened it up a lot more for the entire offense. Really,
yeah. But Thielen's the guy he needs to throw to. He needs an AJ Brown. He needs a big-bodied possession receiver to catch it and fall down. So
Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, he's.
But that's down the road.
He's coming along, but he was pretty raw. He's a good talent. But yeah, he's not where they need him to be at this stage. Over/under's 50. I think that's rich. I do think it's going to be a closer game. I'm actually going to go 28-24 Titans.
Yeah, it's actually what I was thinking. 28-24 Titans. Yeah.
So we agree.
Right, yeah.
That's odd. Moving on.
Got the Houston Texans versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, this Pittsburgh Steelers defense is...
They're good.
They might be the top defense this year. And you have the Houston Texans offense, and Will Fuller, I don't know what happened to him. He was on the injury report. He apparently just disappeared from that.
Yeah, well, I think teams are utilizing the designations for injuries because they can call people up from the practice squad. You can have up to 57 players on an active roster instead of 52 because of the whole COVID. And I think you're seeing this for them to just move people around and avoid waivers. So you're going to see people like, oh, yeah, he's hurt. And everyone's like, oh, he is? And then the next day it's like, oh, no, he's fine. And they made like 15 transactions. They're not huge transactions. They're practice squad players. But I think that's what's going on. So, yeah, there's a lot of injuries this year. And it's just inflated by this that I think some coaches are taking advantage of. But these two teams are relatively healthy. As for the Texans, I just want Cooks.
Yeah.
David Johnson should play good. I don't think he's going to run well.
Yeah, he would have to do it receiving.
But I feel like they're going to be down quite a bit. So a lot of garbage time for David Johnson, Brandon Cooks.
Yeah.
Fuller if he plays, but I'm not super confident.
He's not someone I'm targeting. I would rather have Cooks this week.
As for the Steelers, I think they're trying to figure out their offense. They got some people who are really specific. So Juju can play on the outside, but most of his success has been in the slot.
Yeah.
They really like James Washington, but he only knows how to play the slot. And then Deontay Johnson can do both, but he's better on the outside. And now they have Claypool, who can only play the outside. So they kind of, I think they're going to do a lot. They're going to get up in this game, and they're going to play with stuff. I wouldn't doubt it if Claypool got a lot of looks this week, especially in the outside, because I think they saw what they needed to see, and I think they want to see if he can actually take it to the next level, because Claypool with Deontay, Juju in the slot is kind of what their, I think, end game is. But I don't think they were confident enough in Claypool early in the season. But
I don't think anybody
he's had some really big-time catches, and Claypool, I mean, he could very easily become, by the end of this season, their number one.
Yeah, he could.
I don't think Big Ben will see him that way right away, because he's got a lot of rapport with Deontay and Juju. But I think he'll hold his own on the outside. You're talking about a guy who's 6'4", 235 pounds, who runs a 4.4 40 and had the highest vertical jump among wide receivers. Just throw the ball 10 feet in the air. He'll be the only one to catch it. So I think that's pretty powerful. I think this is an easy blowout win by the Steelers.
Yeah.
But they might get cute and try, like I said, they might try some weird stuff you wouldn't normally see in a real game. So I don't know if they'd run up the score, but I think there's going to be a lot of points around.
Definitely.
Well, how do you see this going?
I would imagine the Steelers would win, obviously. I have them 38-30.
Oh, you think they're going to get 30 points?
I'm sorry, 20. My bad.
38-20. 38-20. Over-under's 45. Yeah, I can see him getting about that far. I'm going to say 31-17.
Okay.
Moving on.
Yeah. Next up, we have the New York Jets versus the Indianapolis Colts. So,
you don't need to mention the Jet players who are out. There's a bunch of them. They're the most in the NFL on injured. They're not a good team. They weren't a good team if they were fully healthy. As long as Adam Gase is there, they're a clown show. So
there's nobody on this offense I'm really trying to play.
Yeah, if you play DFS and you want to take some shots, maybe they get some garbage time. Like Herndon, his talent's still there. He has not looked good though. Not like his rookie year. His rookie year he was explosive. He doesn't look good here. You might be able to take a shot on LaMichael Pirine. I really like what I saw from him in training camp. He reminds me of a better version of Mostart. And he's got something to play for. He's a rookie. He kind of wants that job. Bell's hurt. Gore's old. I don't know how many carries he's going to get, if it's worth it, but Hail Mary throw. Yeah. In Dynasty leagues, you might want to at least grab him, even though it's a bad team. He can catch. He can catch, and the Jets are kind of the team that like to have one guy.
Yeah, maybe.
So whoever it is, they're okay to have. But on the Colts side, start everybody. Everybody you can get.
Pittman, Hilton, Taylor. I would start Taylor over Hines.
Yeah, I might not want to start Rivers.
No, I wouldn't. He'll get the players the points, but he himself, fantasy-wise, I don't think would get many points.
Yeah, but understand why you're starting these players. You're not starting them because the Jets' defense is bad, really. You're starting them because their offense is so bad that the other team is going to be on the field 3 times more than any other offense in the week.
That's a lot.
Last week, the 49ers were 47 minutes of the total 60 minutes of the game on offense. That's just fantasy points because they just have so many opportunities because they're always on offense. So I think just the volume. I think everybody's pretty safe floor. I don't know who's going to be the guy to explode. If I could take one, maybe Taylor. Maybe they just play it safe and they get ahead and they just run this guy. But then again, I don't know. Maybe they don't want to run him. If you're up,
I don't see why they wouldn't.
If you're up by 40 points in the first quarter, are you going to take your bell cow and just run them into the ground?
That much at the end.
I'm just saying. There's a lot of things about this game that's weird.
I like Hilton. He didn't really perform last week, but he dropped a touchdown right in his hands. That you hate when that happens, but I think he has the most potential out of any pass catching option on this offense right now.
Yeah, I think the Jets get some garbage time.
As to who? I can't.
That's
don't know. Anybody.
Probably 28-10 Colts.
I would go about 30-13.
30-13.
30-13.
The Jets are getting 13 points in this game, and we both picked them to not have enough to cover.
Still going. Still going.
Yeah, they should have gave him more points because I don't know. This is a spot though where the Jets do a Jetsy thing, and they just beat a team they have no business beating, and then people are like, oh yeah, the Jets are good again, and then the next week they're back to being terrible. Doesn't happen often, but if they win a game,
once in a while.
like last year when we lost 5 straight and then we beat the Cowboys.
Yeah.
That's kind of how the Jets do. They're terrible the whole year. And there's that one game that they don't deserve to win that they just show up for. So, in my honest opinion about the Jets, Adam Gase, with all the heat he's getting, because he should be thrown out, he should just step away and just say, I'm the head coach. Jim Bob Cooter, take over the offense. He took Stafford. That's the only way I can see Adam Gase keeping his job. Honestly.
I would hope he wouldn't keep it. Well, I hope he does, as a Patriots fan. I'd like him to stay there as long as he wants.
Moving on.
Next up, we have the Carolina Panthers versus the Los Angeles Chargers. It looks like Herbert's going to get the start again this week. Tyrod's still out. That, I think, makes this entire offense better fantasy-wise.
Yeah, anytime Tyrod Taylor's a quarterback, I don't want any Charger. Any of them. Maybe Tyrod.
I'll take maybe Mike Williams or Henry. He seemed to just chuck it up to him and let him do whatever they wanted. So, I'll take that on them. But other than that, it hurt everybody, really.
Yeah, in the preseason rankings, I basically said I don't want him part of the Chargers as long as Tyrod's the quarterback. I didn't expect him to obviously just get stabbed in the chest with a bad doctor, but
yeah, that's not fun.
Shit happens.
Yeah, it does.
As for the Panthers, you're Carolina traveling all the way west. It's not terrible because it's a 4:00 game, so it's kind of like noon for you, but it is something. Anytime you travel far east to west, it's an issue. It's not so much going west to east, but it's hard going east to west. But also in the preseason rankings, I really liked Robbie. I said he was going to fit good and with Matt Rule's. This is his old college coach.
Yeah.
I didn't expect him to outpace DJ Moore, but
I think,
man, he looks
it
comfortable.
Helped him a lot earlier. I think as the year goes on, DJ will get better and better as it goes, and he'll outperform Robbie.
Maybe. I think Robbie's gonna be a top 12 receiver this year. I think he's 3rd right now.
Right now, I don't think he finishes top 12 at the end of the year.
I don't know,
maybe
man.
so with McCaffrey out. That helps him.
Yeah, it helps them both. I
does.
think that offense is going to get better. Matt Rule's got to iron out some details. He runs a really heavy RPO system, but doesn't do the run option. So I don't know if the players are just kind of getting familiar. I think they're going to look more efficiently later they go. I think the Chargers are a better team, but I think there's a lot behind the Panthers right now. They got good momentum.
Yeah, the Chargers are a little banged up right now.
Yeah. It's the second lowest slate. BetUS has it at 43 is the over-under. So they don't expect a lot of touchdowns in this game.
No. I think the Panthers take this one.
Yeah, I think I'm really torn on this one. I'm gonna go with a safe number, but I can see Robbie doing another big one in the house in this game.
I think him and Moore will have a good game this week.
Yeah, I just think he's gonna get that big one.
Maybe
50-yard touchdown. So I don't know. I see it 21-24 Chargers.
Chargers, okay. I'll go 2017 Panthers.
Okay. Moving on.
We have the Dallas Cowboys versus the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah.
The Cowboys pulled it out. They got the win.
Yeah, they had half a football where they looked worse than the Jets.
Yeah.
And then they played half a football where they were like
best
the
team
Globetrotters. So They're somewhere in the middle. So the Seahawks, I mean, I like their offense. I like their defense. They're not there, but they're scrappy. They're really scrappy.
They're
I think
performing very well.
Yeah, I think that the Cowboys defense can be taken advantage of. I can see the Seahawks moving the ball fairly easy against the Cowboys.
Yeah.
But I do see the Cowboys being able to move the ball fairly easy against the Seahawks.
Absolutely.
So I think there's going to be a little bit of good for everybody. There's not enough time in the game for these people to really totally get it, but I think they're all going to be solid.
Most of them, yeah.
Yeah, there's not, and you know how I felt about all the Cowboys receivers all year.
Yeah.
This is a game where I feel okay starting them.
Yeah,
I think Amari can finally have a game.
Well, he hasn't really had a bad game. He just hasn't had a boom.
Right, and that's exactly
But
what I said would happen.
He's played good. He had 20 points last week.
I mean, that's
a good
solid.
game. He's getting the volume and he's catching them.
So this is the highest projected total at 57.5. So you can make an argument either way. I think the Seahawks win this game.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say it's 34-28.
I'm going to go 35-38.
Okay.
I think it'll be close.
35-38.
35-38.
That is a lot of points.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think this will be a very high-scoring game.
Oh, I wonder what the most points ever scored in NFL history is.
That's a good question.
1966 Washington Redskins. They were called that back then.
In the 60s?
I'm allowed to say it.
Back in the day.
Back in the day. Washington Redskins, 1966, against the Giants. Giants did very New York-like.
They lost the game?
Yeah, they lost the game. They lost the game. Quarterbacks Tom Kennedy and Gary Wood each threw 2 interceptions, which is 4, all turned back for touchdowns. Pick sixes. The Redskins quarterback Sonny Jurgensen only threw for 145 yards, but 3 touchdowns of his own, ending in a 72-41 victory.
You got 41 on the board.
That's an over-under. Yeah, it looks like their defense scored more points than their offense. That's been done several times for the Jets. But
It's always nice.
all right, moving on.
So next up, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Denver Broncos. Broncos, they're hurting.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Noah Fant. You got Melvin Gordon. Outside of that, not much. Jerry Jeudy, he's a little banged up.
I don't think Judy's supposed to play, is he?
I believe he's going to suit up. He might be a little closer to game time, but I believe he's going to play.
With the Driscolls throwing him the ball?
With the Driscoll, who didn't do that bad in relief of Drew Lock, really, against a Pittsburgh defense that is a top-end defense. He brought him back and he almost won the game. I didn't expect him to, but he got close.
I think I don't really want to watch this game. I don't think it's going to be a super fun game to watch unless you're like a huge fan of one of these two teams.
Yeah.
I don't know. Tom Brady's chair might get stuck in the ground trying to wheel it around. I have to bust out the walker.
He's got Godwin back this week.
Yeah, they're gonna win. It's gonna be a pretty easy win, but I don't think there's gonna be a whole lot of offense.
Who do you see in that backfield?
Oh, I would Leonard Fournette.
Leonard Fournette?
I think you got to.
Absolutely. Well, you look at it last week, Ronald Jones, when he fumbled, they gave Fournette, I believe it was 14 carries, and he turned that into, he broke one for 45-yard touchdown.
It was a pass play, wasn't it?
No, it was a run play.
Was it a run?
Yeah, I believe so,
Yeah, he looked all right. I mean, that's what he does.
But it's whoever, as long as you don't screw up, As long as you don't screw up, it's your job. And Ronald Jones screwed up, and so for right now, it's Fournette's job until he screws up.
Yeah. As for the Broncos, who do you play? Like, who do you feel confident in?
Honestly, I would play Font. I feel confident.
Yeah, I think Font would be okay.
I think he's starting to become.
I think Gordon
very
is usable.
Person. With Lindsey out, yeah.
He was good with Lindsey in.
I wouldn't.
He was the better back. Not that he
maybe
was
so,
good,
but he wasn't made.
He had moments.
He wasn't one that I really wanted to play. With Lindsey out, I would play him, but
yeah, I don't think this is going to be
outside of those two. I mean, you're taking a shot, really.
Yeah, I think you can play some Buccaneers and be all right with it. I wouldn't.
Godwin should be. I mean,
if you
solid.
had better options, I'd probably, unless you had Godwin, I'd still play, some of the high end players, but otherwise, I would kind of stay away from this game. I think it's going to be kind of a low scoring game. 21-10 Buccaneers.
I think it'll be 24-14 Buccaneers. Well, next up we have the Detroit Lions versus the Arizona Cardinals.
Oh, this is the game.
Finally get to see them.
This is a game. Two powerful, aggressive offenses playing two bad defenses, and both offenses are kind of incompetent. This is going to be like kids in the rain, in the mud. It's going to be a lot of stuff going on in this game. Lots of passing, lots of...
Get to see Galladay.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how effective Galladay is going to be.
I think he'll be a receiver one.
If Galladay is healthy, he's going to have a huge day.
Well, he should be. They didn't rush him back. They had him set. They almost played him last week, but they sat him.
Yeah.
So I think he is ready to go.
Yeah, I agree with that. However, I think everybody knows that offense can't run without Galladay. If he's just out on the field, Marvin Jones becomes good.
It
simple.
helps everybody.
So, I think this is going to be just a shootout. This game, in my opinion, is going to be the highest scoring game of Week 3. And it could be some defensive scoring. It could be some offense. I don't know exactly how this is going to play out, but there's going to be a lot of scoring in this game.
Yeah.
If it's not, I'm going to be sad. I'm going to be sad because these are two teams with a lot of potential that just, they're not quite there, but they want to be there. This is 56 over under. 38-34.
38-34. Who you got winning that?
I take that back.
Oh,
I'm going to change it right here on the fly.
liar.
36-36 tie.
See, that sounds like
That's a
something
Lions-
that's not going to happen.
That's a Lions way to win a game.
Maybe.
Detroit Lions tied more than any other team in the NFL.
All right.
They tie again today.
I think the Lions get the win 31-28.
Okay.
All right. So next up we have the Sunday night game. The Green Bay Packers versus the New Orleans Saints.
Now, two different people I highly respect, who I converse with different betting lines and what, they both like the Saints
Really?
to win this game. And not just take the spread, outright win.
Outright.
Which it's not, I think it's, the line is 3.
Yeah, 3.
So, I think it's going to be a good game, honestly. I think whoever has the ball at the end wins. But the Packers are hot right now.
I think the Packers win this game. I mean, I could see the Saints coming out, especially after the last 2 weeks, just coming out and getting in gear
Yeah.
and setting it. But I can't get behind that, at least the way the Packers are playing right now.
Lazard has looked good, but he looked good with Devontae on the field.
Yeah.
So,
If Devontae doesn't play, that changes a little bit.
I think the Saints really needed Michael Thomas for this game.
Yeah.
So it kind of evened the playing field. So I'm trying to think, if they both had their stars, who would win this game?
I think the Saints would.
I think the Saints would.
Yeah.
But they don't both have their stars. I think that changes things because I think Michael Thomas does more for that offense than Devontae Adams does for the Packers. I think Devontae Adams isn't...
I don't think so.
I'm not saying he's not a better or worse receiver. I'm just saying Michael Thomas does more.
I get it.
He blocks downfield a lot. He runs pick routes. He's just really good not in the play. And I don't see that from Devontae Adams. I see him as a really good player, but he's not the best.
If Devontae Adams doesn't
that.
play and you take out both of those two, I think that the Saints just have a better team.
I don't know.
I think the Packers need Devontae because he is that number one. He's the only one that's really close to it. You look at the Saints and they have Tre'Quan Smith and they have Emmanuel Sanders. Now, they're not elite options, obviously, but they're better than what the Packers have at Lazard and Marquez Valdes-Scantling, at least right now. And then you have Jared Cook, and they actually have a tight end.
Yeah, but I think the Packers are going to mostly just smash the ball right up the gut.
Yeah, Aaron Jones and the screens.
I think I think the Saints are going to do a lot of screens too with Kamara and all that stuff, but I think the Packers are just going to be more of a powerhouse. And it's going to wear them down late in the game.
I was liking the Packers. I'm starting to like the Saints a little more now.
Yeah, I originally liked the Saints, and I think I like the Packers more now. I'm going to go 28-24 Packers.
28-24. I'll change. I'll go 30-24 Saints.
Okay.
Yeah.
You feel good about that one?
No. But I'm starting to think maybe the Saints play.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Wasn't buying into it, but I'm starting to a little now. Talk about it.
Well, that's all we got for you today. See you tomorrow morning to discuss how this all played out.
Hope you enjoyed.